Okay, let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. We'll start with a roll call, please.
Carr. Cruz.
Here.
Fox.
Here.
Frost. Gaylord.
Here.
Guerra. Hanson.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
Kennedy.
Here.
Lee. Natoli. Peters. Cerna.
Here.
Terry.
Here.
We have a quorum.
With that, we'll move on to our Pledge of Allegiance, which today we'll have led by Director Harris.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So with that, we'll move on to the TV announcement.
This meeting of the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District is cablecast live without interruption on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on Comcast Consolidated Communications, and AT&T Uverse cable system. This meeting is being closed captioned and will be webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting will be repeated on Saturday, August 25th at 2 p.m. and Monday, August 27th at 2 p.m. on Channel 14. Members of the audience wishing to address the board should fill out a speaker form located on the table at the back of the chambers and give it to the clerk. Please speak into the microphone and when addressing the board and state your name for the record. Also, at this time, please silence your cell phones until the conclusion of today's meeting.
Thank you. And with that, we'll move on to the Air Pollution Control Officer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. Thank you, board members, for joining us. Happy to provide for you a quick update on a few things that we want to make you aware of. But before I begin, let me explain to you why you're seeing more faces at the table now. What I've asked is for the division managers to join me at the table so that we can be better prepared to address your questions as well as those that could come up from the public. As we've seen over the past few meetings, the issues we bring to you are complex. They cut across the agency, and I feel that we're going to be better prepared and be much sharper if we have the division managers, the leadership sitting at the table ready to address your questions. So from here on out, this is going to be the standard practice. And with that, let me go right into the report and begin to share with you a few items of interest we hope are of interest to you. These are mostly informational, simply because we want to make sure that you're aware that the agency is doing these things. The first one is the very nice opportunity that we were invited to participate in, and that is Bloomberg has this competition, the American Cities Climate Challenge, and the city of Sacramento took the lead to put together an application, a fantastic application they put together, and we are one of many participants in the region. What is the challenge? It's about action, it's about commitment, and it's about leadership. So what they wanted to see is in the application evidence of all the great ideas and all the things that we are doing as a region to set us apart in the fight against not only air quality, but also climate change. And like I said, the city approached us. We provided some information in terms of some of the things that we would like to focus on in the near term and in the long term, and that is what was submitted. We don't know how we're going to do. We're obviously very hopeful, and in the future I'll bring you back an update if you don't hear it directly from other sources. But again, I think this is yet another indication of how things are really moving and happening in our region, and it's great for us. An honor to be invited to be part of it, and we're very happy to be able to contribute. The next thing I want to make you aware of is also at the national level, and this has to deal with some of the policy directions and policy decisions that we're hearing along with the public in terms of some direction that EPA federal EPA is wanting to take. And again, what we want to do here is to make you aware of two concrete actions that we took as an agency. The first one is a proposal that the EPA put out to weaken the existing greenhouse gas standards for cars, for light-duty vehicles. We believe that is not in the best interest of what we're trying to do in terms of improving local air quality. We certainly don't believe that this is the right direction to mitigate carbon emissions and climate change. So we put together, along with our communications office, a statement that is posted on our website to essentially oppose and talk about some of the weakness in the proposal that we believe exist. The second item, in similar vein, is, and this was more formal, we actually submitted a formal comment letter to the federal docket on some proposed action that EPA is wanting to take, allowing for more uses of asbestos-containing material. Again, this is in similar vein, something that we don't think is in the best interest of public health. Asbestos is done and over with science from 30, 40 years ago. So some of the proposals that we're hearing from the federal administration are things that we don't agree with, and we are speaking up. The next item is, again, just simply information. It's obvious. You are living through it. Your constituents are having to deal with it, and that is the impact of the fires, the significant impact that it's having in our air quality. Our communications office, as you can imagine, has been very busy. Thankfully, things are slowing down. We're at the tail end of the worst of the season. So they were very active addressing multiple inquiries from local media. And I'm sure that you're getting our notes in terms of the health advisories, what have you. What I wanted to point out to you with this particular graphic is, I think, probably something that sums up best what the impact is. On the left, you have the measurement of ambient particle pollution, and on the right, you have the similar measurement for ozone pollution. And what I want to draw your attention to is the red line is essentially what we have been measuring in our air work this season, 2018. The gray line is the average for the last 10 years, and you can see the difference in terms of what a significant amount of additional air pollution the fires bring, and frankly, it's air pollution that we obviously were not accounting for. When you look at particles, I mean, the peak is 6 times what the average has been for the last 10 years. If you look at ozone, you also see about a 50% increase in the ambient level of ozone. So obviously, this is something that we are going to be paying very close attention to. Thankfully, the federal rules from EPA have an administrative mechanism for us to be able to account for and deal with these, what are called exceptional events. So there's going to be administrative and analysis and paperwork process going forward. But what I wanted to share with you is just how significant the impact on air quality has been. And the other point I'll make is, typically you think of particle pollution, PM, when you think of fires. And that is true. That is the biggest impact. But it also impacts ozone pollution, which is not typically associated with fire. So it's a double whammy that we're having to deal with. And again, the biggest impact obviously is not on what we measure and what we have to do to comply. It's really the impact on people and their health. So what are we doing to try to get the word out? I mean, we get a lot of calls from you, and I want to encourage you to continue to do that. Reach out to us. We'll share the information. Obviously, we have a full complement and a framework and a structure of agencies out there who are tracking and providing information. What we did is we actually just put a very easy link on the very top of our homepage, which I'm hoping you're familiar with, where Spare the Air and Check Before You Burn have lived for many years. We've added a nice and easy link to smoke information. And when you click on it, it goes to the map that you see on the right, and that's basically what is coming out of CAL FIRE. So if anybody's interested in getting the latest and greatest, you just 2 clicks and you are there. Obviously, we had to put together these slides couple weeks ago, so the clerk can get the process worked out for the presentation today. So this is, as of this morning, the latest information on the fire. And the one that you are going to be interested in is the largest fire, the Mendocino complex, is at this moment 67% contained. We're probably going to have to deal with the impacts for another couple of weeks, the remaining of the month. But like I said, at least we're beginning to see the light at the end of this very dark tunnel.
Alberto, I just wanted to thank you. Looking at our website, because I pulled it up this morning, I forgot the printed packet. It's beautiful. I mean, our website has come so far, and it's really a testament to the team, but this tool is extremely helpful. I've been using the app as well, and it's been great to see how the air quality information is now integrated across several platforms, but our website is so far ahead of where it was even 2 years ago. So
I'm very glad to hear that. And again, the credit goes to the team. I got here and it was already this nice and this good, and we're just trying to improve it.
We'll bask in the glory.
There you go. Very well.
Director Harris had a question as well.
Alberto, I have a couple of comments. First, I had occasion to travel to Eugene, Oregon last week. And Medford, Oregon, the AQI index was over 200. It was about 260 the day I was there. I can tell you that's very uncomfortable. It was also 98 degrees, which didn't help at all. But so it was my first time experiencing the index being that high in any place. It was very difficult to breathe. And in fact, the North State, all the way through southern Oregon, as far as Eugene, we're in the unhealthy zone as far as AQI. Pretty big deal. The North State is pretty much devastated by these fires. It was quite an eye-opener. The other comment I wanted to make is on the EPA and the loosening asbestos rules. This is of great concern to me because as a contractor, the amount of money I've paid to mitigate for asbestos has been extraordinary. So what was their rationale for this? Did they offer any rationale?
Well, the rationale is, make it easier, make it less costly, but at the same time, make it less protective. I mean, I'm going to defer to our Station Resource Divisions to see if you guys want to add anything in terms of the rationale behind the proposed action.
No, I think you're right. This is one of a series of relaxations of the Clean Air Act that we're seeing under the current administration.
Okay, thank you for that. Last thing I wanted to say is, the other night at council, I asked our city manager to work with you to look at banning the use of leaf blowers on spare the air days when PM 2.5 is already elevated, and so you will be contacted by our city staff.
Thank you. We'll be happy to work with the city staff. The board may recall that about a year ago, we brought you a report, a technical analysis in terms of the emissions impact from this particular source. But as Director Harris pointed out, I think there is some sensibility to think about in days when we're already impacted severely by the fires. Does it make sense to have additional sources that can, kick up PM and other things? So we'll work with the city staff and bring back to you whatever we are coming up with. Okay, moving right along, so we leave the fires, and the next item that I want to share with you, so we're jumping into good news, bad news, and a few things in between. The next thing that I want to share with you is something called the Global Climate Action Summit. It's a big gathering coming up in San Francisco mid-September. It initially was started by Governor Jerry Brown. This is all about local action, filling the gap for the lack of action at the federal and international level on climate. It's going to be a big gathering. It's all about what is happening at the local level. And what I want you to understand is that we as an air district have a role. It's a very large gathering. I think they're expecting 100,000 people, and associated with the main event, there's going to be 500 affiliate events that are related to the summit. We were specifically invited to participate in two. UC Davis is holding an innovation mobility symposium that we are going to be participating in and co-sponsoring. And also our technology partners, CalSTART, are going to be holding an affiliate event specifically focusing on clean trucks and buses. And as you've heard before, obviously these are two areas that we as a district have something to contribute, and we're just very pleased that we've been invited directly to participate in them. There's a couple other things that we may end up getting pulled into, and we'll be happy to bring you back more information, but I'm sure you're going to be hearing about this in the news.
Really quick, Director Gaylor had a comment or question?
Actually, yeah, it was on the previous topic. I wanted to reiterate the appreciation and just how amazing everything's been with your guys' outreach as far as the app, the website, and all of the digital signs on the sign on 50 and whatnot. And the new marketing tactic you're using, I think, is really effective. I had a question from a constituent regarding, which might be kind of out there a little bit, but they were talking about kind of an open integration with Waze and maps to deviate folks around affected areas and possibly potential bad air. So I don't know if that's kind of an output that within the app it'll give more folks visibility to kind of deviate their routes and such, but just something I wanted to bring back.
No, that's a really good point. I appreciate the recognition. Like I said, we're open to suggestions. If you see any additional changes that we can make to make it even better, let us know. The point you're making is one that we need to look into, because I do see the benefit. What we try to do is obviously rely on other entities that have a more direct responsibility to do something like this. So we just essentially become a gathering place, a converging point for the information. But to the extent that additional maps and things of that nature do develop, it would be relatively straightforward for us to add a link and then maybe a little bit of a description.
Yeah, with that integration, it populates to whoever's using that app. It can pop up and say, would you like to move around? And it gives more insight to your app, also more visibility to it without you having to promote it. So it was just a good question, I thought. So
thank you. Let's see. So I talked about the climate summit. The next item, and we're almost done. I wanted to alert you of an action you took last board meeting. You had on consent approval of a list of communities for our region that we have submitted to the State Air Resources Board that has to do with new requirements under AB 617 for community monitoring. We've done some analysis. Our planning team and others really put together a very robust technical assessment of when we talk about disproportionate impacts in terms of air pollution for our communities. What does that mean? What does that look like in the Sacramento region? And what we came up with was a list of 10 different communities around the region that we proposed to the state that they should consider. Ultimately, the decision is going to be ARB's decision, and they are going to be deciding in September which communities are going to be getting additional monitoring resources. In our particular case, we're proposing a phased approach. Obviously, we're not going to do all 10 year one. We're proposing 2 year one, and then so on. And what I need you to realize is the two top communities in terms of air pollution impacts for our region are the north of downtown area because of the confluence of the freeways, and then the south area because similar impacts and other issues. So what we have proposed to the ARB is that they give us the resources to begin to have a greater understanding at the community level of what is happening with pollution in those two areas. That the state will decide whether they give us resources for both or one. We'll bring you that back. They're going to meet at the same time that we meet for our September board meeting, and we're going to be there along with our state representatives. We've gotten a commitment from Senator Dr. Richard Pan, Assemblymember McCarty, and a few others that are going to be coming to the ARB meeting to speak on our behalf on both ends, the monitoring requirement, which is what I'm talking to you about right now, but also, and perhaps most importantly, the idea that to the extent that we have disproportionate impacts, this is where cap and trade investments can come in. More resources to clean up the sources that are causing these impacts.
Director Hansen.
Thank you. You answered the question right at the end about mitigation, so the connection between monitoring actual pollutant and pollutant criteria will be cap and trade, but are there other programs as well that would, because I imagine some of that's mobile source, like you mentioned the freeways, but what other mitigation efforts are connected to more accurate monitoring?
So there are many programs, and in fact, after I'm done, you're going to hear a presentation about one of the Air District Signature programs, the CCAT program. Carl Moyer has been around for 2 decades. That has been a key program and will continue to play a role. But going forward, I mean, really, where the real money is going to be, if I can just say that, is going to be the cap and trade program. And everything is sort of morphing and going in a direction where what we now call community air protection is going to be measures that are funded to mitigate pollution with cap and trade funding. So going forward, that's really where it's at. It is mobile sources, the majority of the impacts, and this is really throughout the state. We're not unique in that respect. So Mike Nuremberg and Jaime Lemus, who work in the mobile source division, are going to be very busy trying to figure out, once we understand and quantify the impacts, how is the money best used to mitigate those impacts? Understanding that a lot of what we're seeing is mobile sources.
Well, and the reason I asked is because most of those areas, the pollution may be coming from elsewhere. Some of it may be localized and being generated immediately from those neighborhoods. But, you know, housing mitigation is one thing, air filtration, but obviously we're doing green cities, and the district's been really helpful at moving a couple of the school districts towards electric buses. But are those the kind of things that we would continue to see, or are there other specific interventions?
That is specifically the kind of thing we want to do, because again, the school buses, transit buses, trucks, municipal fleets, county and city, I mean, those are all the vehicles that are always in our neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And to the extent that they continue to get used, could we find zero emission solutions for those applications? That is why the coordination with municipal fleets, with SACOG, with STA, with Sacramento RT is so critical, because we do need to leverage each other's efforts. Our principal goal, obviously, is public health protection. We want to make sure that now that we know that these people live in communities that are disproportionately impacted, we got to get going trying to figure out how to mitigate that. And that's really what the state is gonna be interested in. And then the last thing I wanna do is this agency has a very nice tradition of bringing to the board any new staff that we hire, just so that you can get to know who they are. And we're very pleased that we have 2 new members of our agency family. One of them is Cassie Moore. She's sitting right next to the clerk. She came to us. She's going to be part of our administrative team. She came to us very well qualified, and we're very happy to have Cassie making already a significant contribution to our agency. And I suppose as the clerk is forced to take some time, you'll be seeing more of Cassie in the interim. And then the second person is our controller, Eva Furberger. We're very pleased. Jamil Moens, our chief of admin, gets the credit for finding Eva. She's been a great asset to our team. Obviously, you've heard me say, and you will continue to hear us, the budget is going to be something that we're going to be paying very close attention to, and Eva just brings a tremendous skill set to help us develop the tools and the understanding that we need to make sure that we have a sustainable and defensible budget. So with that, I conclude the APCO report. Unless you have any additional questions, we'll move on to the next presentation.
Anything else with the control officer? Okay. So with that, we'll move on to the consent calendar item, or consent calendar. Is there anything that we need to remove or discuss? Do we have any comments?
No.
Okay. I have a motion by Hanson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstentions? Calendar carries. With that, we'll move on to our discussion calendar item, which is an update of the CCAT guidelines to promote low carbon transportation.
Good morning. My name is Christian Damkier. I am the lead staff on the CCAP program, and I'm here to give you an update on what we're doing and proposing new guidelines to take CCAT into the next level. First off, a little bit of history of the program. we were actually created back in 2000 to originally reduce NOx emissions from heavy-duty vehicles operating in the region. Originally, the region was defined as the federal non-attainment area, which is generally the 6-county region surrounding Sacramento. The original funding came from the state, and we were very successful in getting that out, and that success led to us attracting federal funding for the program, which is what we're now currently using. As we discussed earlier, CCAT is one of the district's key mobile source programs. It's been very successful working with local businesses and government to not only reduce the critical emissions from heavy-duty vehicles, but as part of our overall ozone attainment plan. Unfortunately, as I come to you, we are down to our last $8 million for the program. After this $8 million is spent, the program will sunset unless we're able to find new funding for the program. Going along with this, the California Air Resources Board is now underway with deploying a level of low-carbon transportation that has never been seen before. Between cap-and-trade funding and regulations, they are really pushing low-carbon vehicle technologies, and that does include the zero-emission vehicles, which are incredibly attractive to our region. It's very interesting at this point because zero-emission vehicles have come down tremendously in price. If you look at the light-duty sector, a lot of the zero-emission vehicles out there, when you look at the life cycle costs, they're coming down to where gasoline vehicles are. That said, there's still a lot of challenges, and especially in the heavy-duty sector, there still is a need to assist some of those early adopters of the technology. One of the advantages that we have with our local cost share is it's an incredibly effective way to leverage cap-and-trade money to our region. As you know, cap-and-trade money is collected at the state level, and it's up to the legislature and the Air Resources Board to appropriate it locally. And what we're hoping is by aligning our local programs with the cap-and-trade, it's a way that we can bring a lot more revenue to our region. And this comes at the end of a lot of our pilot studies for low-carbon transportation. As you can see on this slide, we've already been deploying zero-emission vehicles here in Sacramento, and we've got a pretty good track record of those technologies. As you can see, we've got the electric school buses that we delivered with Twin Rivers, Sac City, and Elk Grove Unified School District. They're extremely popular. The kids love them, the drivers love them. We've got electric delivery trucks. I don't know if you've noticed in downtown Sacramento, we have a UPS truck that runs around. You got to pay attention, it's very quiet, so. But it's very fun to see that. I see it in my neighborhood all the time. The transit buses are a really good opportunity. A lot of transit buses have been deployed in Southern California, and we're actually now know the airport is working to deploy electric shuttle buses for parking services at the airport. And we've also been in great contact with regional transit and other transit operators in the region. We're ready to deploy this technology. And going back to the community vehicle, this is a very exciting opportunity for us because there's a lot of these specialty vehicles coming online, like refuse trucks, delivery trucks, utility trucks that go into the neighborhoods. And this is a way that we can get those reductions right at a street level. And due to all these factors, we've got 3 main overarching goals that we're trying to do with these proposed guideline changes. The first, as I mentioned, we want to leverage as much state low-carbon transportation possible. We want to make sure that that money comes to Sacramento and helps our region. At the same time, as we described earlier, we now have to focus on community air protection goals. And this is an excellent opportunity to deploy these technologies in these communities. These are vehicles that drive in and out of neighborhoods and get the maximum impact to each of our AB 617 areas. And sort of an overarching goal is we want to promote transformative technology. A lot of these technologies, the public are still on the fence about them. They don't think maybe they can do what they think. By putting these technologies in good, high-use applications, we can really build that public trust. Because of that, the changes that we want to implement to the CCAP program We do need to cut off funding for old diesel trucks. We've been extremely successful with city, county, small businesses to help them bring their diesel vehicles into compliance and to help reduce emissions, but we need to move on to the zero emission frontier. But on the other hand, we do want to make this as easy as possible for people who want to do zero emission technology. That's why we want to streamline the application process, make it as easy as possible, and really focus on those community fleets where we get our maximum reductions. Additionally, we want to streamline the process. We're going to eliminate a lot of the old requirements of CCAT just to make it very easy for fleets to take advantage of this funding. Everyone wants to know about the money. That's what I do here. Basically, we are offering up to $100,000 per zero-emission heavy-duty vehicle, and we are now allowing them to get the funding without having to destroy an old vehicle. And this is very important. Based on our discussions with the stakeholders, there still is a comfort level that you need to have a backup vehicle just in case the new technology doesn't work exactly as you want. But we're hoping as the fleets get this technology, those backup vehicles will never be used and they'll be perfectly fine with the technology. The great opportunity with this $100,000 is it does allow us to leverage up to $245,000 in state funding. So this is a great return on investment for the region to get that cap and trade revenue to Sacramento. It also sets us up to match this funding with charging infrastructure from the state and from potentially Volkswagen, so the fleets that take advantage of this have opportunities to deploy this technology very easily. The great part is this is going to have a great impact on the Sacramento region specifically. This is one of the best ways we've identified to promote low carbon transportation in the region. And as we discussed before, this is an opportunity for us to really deploy the 617 requirements so that we can identify these vehicles and the types of vehicles that are coming out, the transit buses, the refuse trucks, the neighborhood shuttles, school buses. These are vehicles that operate in and out of these communities, and that's our goal for that. Overarching, these technologies help us with greenhouse gas reductions, and that's one of the main reasons that we're focusing on this. This is a way we can get that community level protection and advance our greenhouse gas goals. This is part of an overall effort to integrate this concept into our entire incentive program strategy. And that's why we're focusing on zero emission heavy duty vehicles for our air quality goals. We're attempting to align our local goals with other goals, and part of that is the SACOG Green Region program. We run the CCAT program in conjunction with SACOG, so we want to make sure that it meets the overall goals of that program. The hope is we're building a local network of technology, and what that will do is build on each other. As each fleet gets more and more comfortable with the technology, it builds this critical mass so that fleets are more likely to apply for other programs like Cap and Trade and Volkswagen. As I said before, these are very visible technologies. These are technologies your constituents will see in their neighborhoods driving around on a day-to-day basis, showing that zero-emission technology really can work in an everyday application. And one of the great opportunities is it does allow Sacramento to finally enter the zero-emission world in a big way. And as a result of the discussions we've had with manufacturers and fleets, we've actually had 2 vehicle manufacturers looking into setting up operations in Sacramento. Because of our experience with school buses, because of our experience with the trucks, these companies are looking to come to Sacramento and set up operations, which means we're going to have potential for jobs. We're going to have the expansion of a zero-emission technology in our region. So we're very excited to bring these changes to you. And where do we go from here? These guidelines had to be approved by SACOG, and they were approved by SACOG last week. Our board does need to approve these guidelines so that we can start implementing them. As a result of our discussions with SACOG, we are now going to be splitting the CCAT funding into the 6 counties associated with SACOG, and we're going to be doing that on a population base. We've been directed that we are going to work specifically with each community to deploy CCAT funding in a way appropriate for that community. So that's going to allow us to meet with the regional APCOs and develop a program specifically for their needs. Here in Sacramento, we're very fortunate that we can work with our stakeholders and develop a CCAT deployment program that hopefully will meet all of our needs. This is a great opportunity to kick off our cap and trade discussions and our Volkswagen discussions and any other funding opportunities. This is how we can leverage all this funding, and that's why we've brought these guidelines to you, hopefully for your approval. So that's the presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
We'll start off with Director Fox.
In your presentation, what I did not hear was anything about the private not-for-hire owners of the vehicles that will be impacted by these changes in rules and regulations. We already have DMV refusing to register vehicles, and there's no compensation, nothing for those folks who basically serve our communities. They do a lot of things. They just don't happen to transport people or garbage. My question to you is there anything in this plan or anything in your future look that's going to help these folks out? Because basically you're denying them the use of a vehicle that they now can't even sell in California and forcing them to do something else to continue their not-for-hire use of the heavier trucks. These are primarily the 450s and 4500s of Ford and GMC.
The CCAT program over the last 16 years has been very successful working with small businesses, and we've deployed a lot of compliant diesel trucks. So we have worked with a lot of small businesses here in Sacramento, and we've helped them buy the trucks that are now compliant with the ARB regulations. There have been, we do need sort of the carrot and stick approach, and that's where the ARB comes in. And I believe, Alberto, you can probably follow up on that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. What Director Fox is pointing to is you are specifically thinking about private individuals. And the programs were implemented are for commercial uses. For the private individual, the state does have very similar programs that incentivize somebody making a choice to go from combustion to non-combustion technology. Now, having said that, I think the issue you're referring to is one where, to the extent that there is a vehicle that is no longer compliant with the state rules, they are going to not be allowed to continue to be registered. That is an area where we as an air district have no jurisdiction over. It is a state rule. But again, I think I can say with confidence that what the state is trying to do is not just to impede people from doing what they need to do. I suppose that there is an avenue through these programs for us to help people point them in the right direction where, as a private citizen, as a private user of a vehicle that is no longer eligible for registration, you can find a replacement. And again, if you have specific examples, we'd be happy to look into that. I don't know if Mr. Newberg has anything to add in this regard.
Okay, I think you're touching on what I was talking about is they have no place to go from what I understand, and we're not providing them with a resource to at least find out what their options are other than this notice that says you can no longer use this vehicle. And these are small tradesmen, and I realize some of these are the farmers and the horse people and that type of thing, but some of them are small tradespeople that really don't, apparently from what I'm hearing, don't know how to find out or have not been provided with the information. So is there some way that we can include this in what we're going to do, if nothing else, a highlight someplace in the website or something that says, and by the way, here is a place you can go to find out information regarding the loss of these vehicles to your commerce?
So we'd be happy to explore that and work with you directly, again, if it's providing information to the extent that there is an opportunity for us to be helpful, and again, maybe pointing people in the right direction in terms of some of these programs that the state has set up. But again, I want to make sure that you're clear. What you're talking about is an ARB requirement. It's a statewide, and we as an air district have no jurisdiction over those requirements. We can help implement and help specific members of the community in our district point them in the right direction. But it is, as Mr. Danclear said, is a balance between the carrot and the stick.
No, absolutely, and I'm not questioning that. What I'm saying is, can we as a service provide at least some direction that says, hey, by the way, if you're impacted by this and you don't qualify here, go look, these are who you need to contact.
We'll take it as an action item. We will do a little bit of digging and investigation, and we'll put some together for you to consider. And if you agree, maybe we can be as easy as just providing information very specific to this issue on our website. But we'll work with you and come up with an answer.
A couple of things I know, at least more specifically from ARB, they do have the one-stop truck stop, which actually does provide all fleets with information in terms of what to do, either from a compliance or from an incentive standpoint. I can also speak for staff that we field calls on a regular basis, and we do, if we can direct them towards incentives, we certainly work with them towards that. If we're unable to, if we don't have incentive programs for them, we will try to direct them into the right spots where they can go from there. So I know at least I can say during the time that I've been here for the 17 years, that's a common service that we've been providing here. So we can look on our website. We'll try and make sure that at least it's more specific. I believe we already have references on our website that actually help direct fleets in terms of where they can go from a compliance end. But yeah, that is a common question that we receive on a regular basis. So, yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Chair Terry, we have one person who would like to speak on this item.
Go ahead, we'll take that now.
I have Mr. Chris Flores with Sacramento Regional Transit.
Come on down, Chris.
Thank you. As stated, I'm Chris Flores with Sacramento Regional Transit. I want to thank the staff at Air Quality for bringing this proposal forward and the board for consideration. As was mentioned in the report, the Air Resources Board is putting on requirements for transit districts to go to zero emission fleets. We're starting that phase conversion with an award we received from Electrify America, where we're going to have a route from UC Davis to downtown Sacramento and to the UC Davis Medical Center. And that will begin our first conversion. They're also going to be funding our micro transit in the south area along Franklin Boulevard and providing a smaller fleet of electric vehicles for that. So we'll have a mix and we'll kind of get to compare the technologies. But SacRT has over 225 buses in our system, and so to meet the requirements that ARB is putting upon us, we are very much welcome these new guidelines. We want to be a demonstration for the state to show what can be, as a capital city, with the legislators here, what can be done. So we're aggressive, and I know our board is pushing us to do this, so we're very appreciative of the changes, and just want to speak in support of that. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Any other comments?
No, we don't.
Okay. This was a discussion, right? Is there action to be taken?
Yes.
Oh, there is. Okay. Move approval of the guidelines. I have a motion from Harris, a second by Hanson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? Motion carries. With that, do we have any public comment?
We do not.
Okay. Any board ideas or comments before we move into closed session? Or announcements? With that, we will recess into closed session.